After pardoning Texas Democrat Henry Cuellar last week, Trump is now furious and frustrated over Cuellar's choice to run for re-election. You might recall that Cuellar had been facing charges of allegedly taking more than $600,000 in foreign bribes when Trump granted him a pardon. And on that very same day, Cuellar announced he would be seeking another term in the House, which led to this explosive post from Trump on Truth Social over the weekend. Trump wrote, in part, "Can you believe the Democrats under crooked Joe Biden's administration, who always rely on extreme force and jail time to crush political opponents, wanted to throw Congressman Henry Cuellar and his wife Imelda in prison for 15 years? I predicted these radical left lunatics would do exactly that. It was so unfair what they were putting him and his family through. His daughters even sent me a beautiful letter about their parents." After reading it, Trump said he decided, in the name of justice and based on the daughter's heartfelt request, to grant Henry Cuellar and Alda a full and complete, well, you get the idea. Okay, listen. Something just went down, and we absolutely have to talk about it because this is beyond wild. Seriously, December 9th, 2025. That is literally today. A federal judge has just unsealed more than 20,000 pages of Jeffrey Epstein documents. And yeah, I know. You probably think you know where this is headed. You don't. Not even close. This is enormous. The implications inside these files are going to completely reshape everything we thought we knew about this entire situation. These documents have been hidden away for years, sealed, buried, kept far from public eyes, and now they're out. All of them. And Trump is absolutely losing it. His entire political machine is in meltdown mode. This is the kind of moment that defines a presidency. And not in a good way. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest. Headlines aren't reliable anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, real stories, real context, no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox daily. Click the link in the description to sign up. And if you just want to support what we're building, join us. Be part of a community that actually cares about truth. All right. Back to the video. Trump just revealed his hand. He basically admitted he pardons people based on loyalty. And former Obama speechwriter Dan Pfeiffer chimed in, saying, if Trump is getting played by Henry Cuellar, imagine how much someone like Putin is taking his lunch money every day. I don't know about that take, but here's the thing though. These aren't random papers someone found in a basement. These are official court documents, actual records. And buried inside, hidden under seal for years, are entries showing President Trump had 17 phone calls with Jeffrey Epstein. 17. And not from 2005. Not from before the world knew. These are from 2009 to 2015. Years of contact. Multiple calls. After Epstein's conviction. After everyone already knew exactly who Epstein was and what he had done. And Trump was still calling him. Let that sink in. That is what the court just made public. But there's more. There's always more. Because the documents also include Mar-a-Lago visitor logs. That's right, logs showing Epstein actually being on Trump's property. And on top of that, there's a deposition from Virginia, the woman who fought Epstein in court for decades. The survivor who exposed the whole thing. In her deposition, now released publicly, she says she spent hours at Mar-a-Lago. She says Trump was there. And she claims Trump knew underage girls were present on the property. That's what the federal judge released today. That is what anyone in America can now read. That's the story. That's what we're dealing with. And you know how Trump reacted when this hit? When the news broke? When people began reading the documents? He went nuclear on Truth Social. Complete meltdown. A full breakdown. Posting unhinged things, fake files, radical judges, witch hunt, deep state hoax. He's claiming the judges are radicals. He's saying it's all fabricated. That it's some massive conspiracy. This is the same guy who is supposed to be running the country right now. Supposed to be focused on governing, on leading. Instead, he's spiraling online because his name is all over documents that just became public. This is obliterating his whole political narrative, and the timing is absolutely brutal for him. His approval rating just crashed to 36%. Disaster territory. We're in the middle of a government shutdown. Democrats are preparing impeachment probes. Congress is exploring articles against him. And then this bombshell drops, the Epstein file release with Trump's name all over it, with documented calls, with Mar-a-Lago logs tied to the allegations. This is the worst possible moment for a presidency already drowning in chaos. But here's where it gets even wilder. Trump's own party is starting to turn on him. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the face of MAGA loyalty, just publicly said Trump made a mistake trying to block these files from being released. She said we need to stand with victims. She said transparency matters. She said covering this up is wrong, even if it personally hurts Trump. And Trump is pushing back at her. So now MAGA is splitting. Greene wants the truth out. Trump wants it buried. And they're fighting in public. This is fracturing the movement. This all started when Chuck Schumer pushed through a Senate bill forcing a partial release of the documents. Schumer said we need transparency, that these files can't stay sealed forever. And once the door cracked open, once people got a glimpse of what was inside, the whole thing exploded. The full release overrode all the DOJ's slow walking. Suddenly everything came out. Everything. And now Trump is panicking. Desperate. Throwing everything at the wall to make it disappear. And nothing is working. Think about what this means for his presidency. He already has the lowest approval numbers of his second term. Shutdown chaos. Impeachment discussions. And now he's directly tied to Epstein, not loosely, but concretely. 17 phone calls. Property logs. Deposition claims. Real, documented materials. Democrats are calling him the cover-up king. They're saying instead of transparency, Trump tried to suppress the documents and hide the truth. And they're not wrong. That's literally what happened. Schumer had to force it through the Senate. The DOJ dragged its feet. Trump wanted the whole thing buried, and now everyone can see it anyway. So let's actually break down what's inside the files, because most people are misunderstanding the story. They hear Epstein documents and assume it's just a list of names or some small mention. Nope. Not even close. These are 20,000 pages of evidence. Official records, depositions, phone logs, visitor logs, witness statements. A complete archive of one of the most notorious criminal networks in American history. And for years, these were sealed tight. Trump's lawyers fought relentlessly to keep them sealed. The DOJ stalled. Powerful forces worked to suppress them. Then Schumer introduced the Epstein Transparency Act, saying enough is enough, victims deserve answers, the public deserves answers, and secrecy has gone on long enough. Congress pushed. Judges agreed. And boom, December 9, 2025, 20,000 pages go public. And what people are finding is shocking and sending Trump into a frenzy. Now, here's the part devastating Trump. Those 17 phone calls. And again, not from 2000. Not from before anyone knew. From 2009 to 2015. After conviction. After the world knew. After Epstein was a registered sex offender. Trump was still in contact for 6 years. Multiple times a year. That wasn't accidental. That was a deliberate relationship maintained long after the truth was known. But it gets worse. Epstein visited Mar-a-Lago. Logs show it. Witnesses describe it. Virginia says she spent hours there, Trump was around, and she claims he knew underage girls were present. That's in the deposition. That's in the release. Trump is now saying all of it is fake, the documents, the logs, everything. A witch hunt. A hoax. Radical judges. Deep state. But these are official court documents, unsealed by a federal judge. They weren't created yesterday. They weren't drafted by reporters. They're real, legal, archived files. And they're public because the judge ruled the public has the right to see them. And here's the part people aren't grasping: this destroys Trump's entire political brand. His first term and campaign message were all about fighting corruption, exposing the deep state, draining the swamp. That was his identity. The outsider fighting the establishment. But now, we have documents tying him directly to one of history's most predatory criminals. Phone records. Visitor logs. Deposition statements. And his response is to scream witch hunt, the exact opposite of transparency. It's the highest level of hypocrisy. So he's on Truth Social ranting nonstop: fake files, witch hunts, radical judges. But judges aren't radicals for doing their job. Their job is to uphold the Constitution, follow the law, and release documents when the public has the right to see them. Meanwhile, his own party is splintering. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the most loyal of the loyal, says victims deserve truth and Trump miscalculated. That is massive. She defended him through everything, every scandal, every controversy, and now she's breaking with him. That tells you how serious this is. MAGA is splitting in half. Some say transparency matters. Others follow Trump, saying it's all fake. The movement is fracturing. Now let's talk about what's coming next, because this is about to explode even more. The consequences are enormous. First, impeachment. Democrats finally have ammunition. Trump's direct Epstein ties. Trump trying to suppress documents. Trump attacking judges. They will argue he attempted to cover up evidence and interfere with transparency. Republicans still control the Senate, so removal is unlikely, but impeachment itself is devastating. It sticks forever in the history books: a third impeachment, this time over the Epstein documents. Second, his approval ratings are going to tank further. He's at 36% already. A historic low. But this involves minors, predators, cover-ups. Independents won't ignore that. Moderates won't ignore that. This crosses a line for many Americans. Third, MAGA is fracturing. Greene's break indicates others are questioning everything. They're asking if defending Trump is worth being tied to this scandal. Once you lose your base, you're done. And the break is happening right now. Fourth, Democrats are going to use this as their central message heading into the 2026 midterms. Cover up king. They'll run ads showing Trump's rants, the court orders, the logs, the depositions. Swing districts will be flooded with it. Independents will see it constantly. This will dominate the news cycle for weeks. Let's be clear, the documents prove 17 calls, Mar-a-Lago logs, and deposition claims. Do they legally prove guilt? Not necessarily. They're evidence, not verdicts. But that's not the point. The scandal is the cover-up. The secrecy. The effort to keep the documents hidden. If you have nothing to hide, you don't fight transparency. So what's next? Impeachment is coming, maybe next month, maybe in spring, but it's happening. He won't be removed, but he will be impeached. Then the 2026 midterms become a referendum on Trump and Epstein. And long-term? Trump's political brand is shattered. He entered as the anti-corruption outsider, and now he's tied to one of the worst criminals in modern history. His base will stick with him, but everyone else is walking away. This story is absolutely insane, and it's only just beginning. This is the turning point of his presidency.